I'm cooking chicken. I got some chicken that I'm cooking, and I'm also going to be cooking mushroom soup and some mushrooms together with this chicken, and then mashed potatoes and asparagus for dinner tonight. So just wanted to show y'all. I'll be back. Okay, so now it's time for me to put my mushroom soup into the pan with the chicken. And this is what my soups look like together. They're getting up to a boil, and I have some baby bells mushrooms. So I'm gonna mix all this stuff together. And this is what the soup looks like after it's been mixed all together. Chicken in there, there's golden mushroom, and there's cream of chicken soup together. Now I'll dump this in my bowl, and I will make some mashed potatoes and some asparagus. And finally, my asparagus cooking. I got the mashed potatoes already cooked. I'm cooking up my asparagus right now, and I'll get back with you. And there is the mashed potatoes, chicken, and mushroom soup all together. Mushroom soup became a gravy, and it tastes awesome, I can assure you of that. Good morning here, YouTube people. What is going on with you all today? How? I'm coming to you via me living room, and I'm totally awesome here. I feel excellent. The only pain I might have is a little bit of pain in my knee, my right knee. I twisted it last night going to the bathroom. I guess I need to leave a nightlight on or something. I just walking in the dark like some Bigfoot or something, and I ended up twisting my knee when I walked in the doorway of the bathroom. But nevertheless, I'm good. I just, I have a little bit of pain right now, but I took some ibuprofen, and it's like going away right this moment. I wanted to give a shout out to all the people that I clearly have made some sort of friendship with. I guess I could start it way back when I first became homeless. That is where it begins for me, because before that, I've always had friends, I guess you could say. I don't really call them friends at this moment. They just existed to me, I don't know how much of a friend that they actually were. But after my homeless adventures, I really found out the people that cared about me and the people that didn't. I mean, I expected my family to care for me, and they did. But, there were people outside of my family that I also expected would care about me. And, I don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about them coming to me and handing me $20 or something like that. No. But if you care about somebody, you're going to, talk with them, come over to meet them where they're at, and, pray with them, and, this kind of stuff. Not so much, in a material sense. I'm not talking about that at all. But my family have contacted me even up till right now. So I know they love me, and I love them also very dearly. But there are people that I could say that really just, they fell off the face of the earth with me. They found out about me, but they didn't care to check up on me. They just didn't do a whole lot of nothing for me. So, kudos to them. I'm not cursing them. I'm just saying, are you my friend or are you not my friend? That's really the question behind all of it, Are you my friend or are you not my friend, And if you are, then contact me. I was out on the street, and none of the people that I considered myself friends with actually checked up on me, just didn't. And it remains the same way to this day. Now, the people that I made friends with since I was homeless, that's a different story. There are quite a few of them, including Donnie, who's in my camera view right now. She, just remember the winter storms videos that I made. She called me up. She said, I realize it's snowing right now and you can't get outside and that. Is there any kind of food or anything you could need? Because I want to do that for you, buy you some food and that. And she told me, think about it and give her a list and, do it soon because the snow was getting really bad and there wasn't any cars that are going to be able to ride out to me if it got bad enough. So I did. I sent her a list. She said it was a small list. I don't know. She probably spent about $100 on me or so. And I was very grateful and thankful for that. And I told her so. But she said when I got the food, she said, now take videos of the food that you cook and send them to me. So I did that. And she was very grateful and sent me back a text saying that it looked delicious, and I said, I wish you were here to eat it, but, she didn't comment back on that. That's okay. And then a few days later, I sent her another video of other food that I cooked that she also had sent. So I wanted her to see that, I was very grateful and thankful for that, and I love her. There's no other way around that. I love Donnie. Donnie would be my safe place if I had one. And that's my safe place here, the person that I could actually touch with my hand, I can't touch my father with my hand. I mean, he can't comfort me with a hug and talk to me like that. But Donnie can, and Donnie has. Donnie has been very special to me, and I love her dearly. Like I said, if she was, she's not yet 5 miles away from me. She's like 4 miles, 0.8 or something like that. If she called me in the middle of the night and she had a problem where she was at, I would make all attempts to get over to where she was at. I don't care what it takes. God forbid I would steal a vehicle or something to get over there, but I'm telling you, I would make any and every effort to get over to where she was at. Because I love her. I truly love her. And she is the best thing going, If I was to get in a relationship with anybody and she was single and didn't have any kind of prospects out there, I would talk with her because she is the person that would be on my mind as far as that was concerned. She is very special to me. And and her daughter as well, you know, and her and I have a great relationship also, and she said that in her video when she was talking about me. But, you know, it is what it is. Now, I have other people that were in my life at one time. Amy was really the first person to come out of the nail salon to talk with me. She sat right next to me. She started telling me about all the people that she talks to that comes in there, and they talk about me all the time, and she talks about me all the time. And I was very overwhelmed and thankful for that. But, you know, they would show me too, the people that would go in to get their nails done, they would come out. Some of the ladies gave me $100, sometimes 40, sometimes 50, sometimes 20, sometimes 10, sometimes 5, sometimes a few dollars. It didn't matter, and I was grateful and thankful for each and every one of them when they gave that to me. And it wasn't once, twice, 3 times, 20 times, 50 times. It was many times, okay? Many, many times, hundreds of times, that people would come from that spot. You know, I know women go in there and spend like $200, $300, $400 in one shot on their nails. And they would come out and give me money, and I was very grateful for that. As a matter of fact, it doesn't matter the money that you spend or the money that you give me. It's all about your heart. Where's your heart at? Did you use your heart when it came to me? Some ladies didn't even bother to look at me, didn't give me a second thought or anything. You know, they just didn't care at all, ever. But there were some that were very upstanding towards me. Now, in my very first video on this channel, when it was called The Unbreakable Heart, Rachel is the one that gives her little 10-second, 15-second introducing my channel. And she was very nice to me, very sweet. She comes from a Chinese background. I think she was actually born here, which most of them in there were, I believe. T is the owner manager, but she was like, I think her husband said she was like 15 when they moved here, which is cool, you know. I don't have a problem with that. Amy, who I just talked about a minute ago, when she came out talking to me, she really gave me a special feeling, like I was somebody very special. And that was the greatest thing that anybody could do. I don't care if you buy me anything or give me money in that. Naturally, I'm very grateful and thankful for it, but it doesn't matter to me as much as it mattered that she took recognition in me, just like Donnie did. Like Donnie said, what I told her was true. She did. She made me feel here, alive. No, not like some pissant guy that just sits around bumming all day long and stuff. And, you know, I've had medical problems that really didn't allow me to go back to a working situation. So it was very difficult, but I had to find something that I could do, and I have online that that I'm good at. So I thought about it. Didn't take long. It probably took about 2 or 3 weeks. But I thought about it. What is it that I'm good at? Like, I was always considered a person of many trades, but a master of none, that type of guy. I could fix cars to a certain extent. I worked in a garage at one time. But I ran car parts and things like that. But I was under the wing of a guy, we called him Buzzy. But I was under his wing, and he showed me how to do many things. I could overhaul transmissions. I could change engines out. I mean, I could do a lot of that work. I didn't choose to do it, but I could have done it, you know. Just like my dad with carpentry. You know, like I said, my dad was a general contractor. So all of his subcontractors did something in particular, and I worked with each and every one of them. And some of his best friends, Don Wheat, you know, Mike Belmer, he was his partner, but I also worked with Mike. What is his name? The Pink Panther. I can't think of his name, but they called him the Pink Panther. And there were just so many guys that actually worked for my dad. They all did like plumbing or electric or this or that, framing, you know, anything that has to do with a house. They could put a house together, you know. But it was many, many different people. And I worked with a lot of them. Dan Ruhlman, Danny Brohlman, what was his name? I can't think of all their names. They're so many vast people that I could name off. I just don't remember everybody's single name. But anyway, Amy, I ended up not really speaking to her much after that. I noticed that whenever she came up, she would grab her phone out of her pocket and look at it. And I would like have to get her attention, holler out at her, and she would look up and just wave at me and then look back at her phone and walk away. So I said, well, am I intruding on her life by calling out to her, you know, and that? So I tested her. So she would go by and she wouldn't look at me, she wouldn't say anything. So it kept on being that way. So I said, well, maybe I was bugging her or something, you know. I asked her to do the 15-second intro, and she said she didn't want to do it. And then one time after that, I asked her for her phone number just because I knew that I was not going to be living outside on the street anymore. I was working so hard to get off the street, and I did. And I wanted to get her number, you know, just to, you know, communicate back and forth every now and again. I wasn't trying to be her boyfriend or nothing like that. I just, you know, just the same as Donnie. You know, like I said, I love Donnie to death, but I'm not like calling her up and, hey, Donnie, how you doing, baby, or something like that. I don't do that, okay? If it was meant between Donnie and I, it would fall into place. I know that, okay? But, you know, maybe she doesn't like white dudes. I don't know. It all has something to do with whatever, you know? And, you know, me personally, I don't mind. I love a person. You know, not a person's color. It doesn't matter to me what color you are. You know, you are a human being, no matter who you are. And if you don't view yourself as a human being, then I guess I don't want anything to do with you. That means you're, you know, green-blooded and you're an alien or something like that. But if you're a human being, why wouldn't I want anything to do with you? That is weird to me, you know. In my whole life, and I'm older than most of the people that listen to me right now, so I've never had any kind of racial thinking in my head. I don't do that. I don't say any racial slurs or anything like that, and I wouldn't expect it on anybody else, you know. Anyhow, I just got upset whenever she just stopped, like, caring, I guess. I don't know how else to say it. She just wouldn't look over at me anymore. And this was after she bought me the sleeping bag and the tent. You know, I don't know. Maybe she was thinking I wasn't appreciative of it. I said thank you so very much, maybe 3 to 5 times, you know. I was very grateful for it. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, how I ended up separating from her, I don't know. You know, it's just something simple somebody will do, you know. Amy probably spent about 200 and change on me with the tent and stuff. And I was very grateful for that. I truly was. But what can I do after that, you know? Because Christina, she works in there. She's very beautiful. She's got long, black, beautiful hair. I don't know if she's married or what. I never ask any of them if they're married or this or that. A couple of people I knew, they would tell me even though I didn't ask them. But Christina, I never knew whether she was married or what. And one day it was raining. I didn't have an umbrella. She went to her car. She got her umbrella out. She brought it over to me and gave it to me. That alone, it was a very nice gesture. And I thought about that, you know. It didn't matter to me, like money-wise, you know. Hey, well, you gave me $500 and she only gave me $10. So I'm going to like the girl that gave me $500 more than the girl that gave me $10. No. And it shouldn't be that way, you know. It shouldn't. But there are a lot of people, like I said, Felicia, she was gorgeous. She was a gorgeous person. And there were many girls like that went into the nail salon to get their nails done. Navi, I loved her. She brought her daughter. I didn't know that was her daughter. Navi looks like she's 20 years old, and she's older than that. I think her daughter's about 14 years old, and I was like, wow, you got a 14-year-old daughter? Wow. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised to know that. Because seriously, Navi looked like she was 26, 27 years old, no older than that. There were several girls that worked in there, and I loved them all, okay? Even Amy, that gave me the cold shoulder after a minute, you know. It is what it is. I can't do anything about that. I didn't do anything to her. I didn't talk about her behind her back or anything like that. It just didn't work out with us remaining friends or whatever. And I don't know why, but hey, it is. But there were many other people outside. Chrissy, Marissa, Tamaya, Brittany. There were actually 3 Brittany's, 2 Brandys. One girl, her name was Brittany, but I called her Brandy because she looked like the singer Brandy. I said that to her. I said, you look just like Brandy. Every time I see you, I want to call out Brandy to you because that is who you look like to me. And she just laughed about it. But I met her dad. Her dad actually drives a 18-wheeler. And she was really nice. She was a special person. She still is. But I don't see them any longer because I'm not over in that direction anymore. Ruby. I love Ruby to death. Ruby is married to a Haitian guy, and she walks another guy's dog. You know, we used to work for one of those dog walking services, and she quit from there, but she walks the guy's dog regular now, and he pays her the same that he paid her before, but she don't have to go through the dog service anymore. So, you know, she works across the street, so on her lunch break and that, she comes out and goes over to his apartment and walks his dog. And I met her, and she was very special to me. She would come by where I sat on the bench and said to me, "I'm going to Whole Foods. Is there anything I can get you?" I said, "If you want to buy me lunch, it's fine with me." Sometimes she would go into Farm Burger, and sometimes she would go into Whole Food and buy me food and bring me out food. There were a couple of times she gave me like $10, $20. There was a time she went by me on the bench one day, said, "I'd like to buy something for you. Is there anything in particular you would like?" I said, "Well, I have a jacket, but I'm still cold out here with this jacket." So she bought me another jacket, and it was nice. It was a nice jacket. And I wore it all over the place. You know, the thing with being outside is you actually can wear down clothes a lot quicker than you can if you have them in the house and you're constantly wearing them and washing them and this and that. If you're outside with them, they get scraped up and ripped up. You know, you're walking into metal pieces that are sticking out all over the place and ripping them and stuff like that. It looks like you don't take care of them, but it's not true. It happens because you're outside all the time. Nevertheless, it happened. But I am so grateful and thankful for everybody. Deja, not Donnie's Deja. Deja, she lived over in the Spectrum Apartments, and she was beautiful towards me. She would come by with food all the time. She always helped me out. I love her so much. There are so many of them. I mean, I can name people all day long. Candace is another one. Now, there's a couple of dudes too now. Jojo, his name is Justin, but he goes by Joe, and I called him Jojo. Kenny, Miles, DeAndre, what was his name? Anton. Anton was a real good guy. Dex, Mez, I think they call him Mez. There's so many people that I am so thankful and grateful for. They just all the time. And of course, Donnie's friend Naja, and Maya. If it wasn't for Maya, I would not have met Donnie and Deja. Natalie really disappointed me. Natalie, at one time, she used to walk by me all the time. She would always, give me a smile in the early morning hours, and it was great. And then one day she stopped walking near me, and she started walking the other way. And there were a couple of times she went to church. She went to Andy Stanley, and she would, after church, she would stop by and give me $10, $20 like that. and she brought me food a couple of times. She cooked for me, and she also bought food in restaurants and drove over to where I was at and gave me food. But she disappointed me because, I still have her phone number, but I would do things, talking with her or whatever, or sending her texts, and she would never answer them, and just kind of everything faded out with her or whatever. She gave me a suitcase one time, and that was okay. What was her name? Volaria. Volare. Whoa. But yeah, she just said, call me V. So I did. Boy, and Mary, and there are so many people. Rayana was really special to me, and her husband too. She brought her husband over to meet me one day, and I looked at him. I said something that I probably shouldn't have, but I said, "Well, I expected you to be a little bit taller than you are." He was actually shorter than me, and when I went into the Army, I got measured out at 5'9", but now I'm 5'7". I noticed that in my cousin also. He is a twin. He has a twin, but he looks kind of like the Monopoly guy, my cousin, and his twin brother, is like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 inches taller than him now. So, he shrunk quite a bit. And, I started losing my instep in my feet, and I noticed that. And now I guess I'm completely flat-footed like Fred Flintstone. I don't know how else to explain that. But at one time I was 5'9", and now I'm not. I never been really tall, but 5'9" at one time, and I just, gradually started shrinking more and more and more. And, that's what happened. But nevertheless, that is what happened. I just wanted to give a shout out to all the people that I possibly could, that I can remember. There are so many more. Shari. Boy, there are so many. Russ. Daniel. There are so many people that actually helped me when I was out there and struggling. And if I could take all of their monies and put them into a bank account right now, I could probably have about $35,000 in the bank at this moment in time because of them. And that's just being honest, but that's compiled up of like 7 years. 7 years. So, as of right this moment, if I could tally it all up with all the food they gave me or all the money that they gave me and everything else, it would come out to be that much. Most of it was in food. A lot of it was in money, however, I probably, if I counted the monies up, it would probably be about $18,000. But if I calculated the food also that they spent their money on me for, it would be about 35 grand. And like I said, I'm very, very, very grateful for that. Grateful and thankful for that. And last but not least, I want you to know that I love you. I love you right there. Love yourself. Love my Father God. By all means, love each other, people. Until the next time, love, peace, and soul